and my favorite thing in this fucking scene, and it happens again later, but this is the first time it happens, is that the other son guy gets a stick, so now they both have a stick, and they do the thing from Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, in the final duel between Obi-Wan and Anakin, where there's that moment where they're fighting, and they just spin their lightsabers at each other.
Look, we're powering up for a big attack.
Yeah, they literally sit there and spin their sticks at each other for like 45 goddamn seconds. It's amazing. I love it so much. Hello and welcome back. 86th episode of Good Bad or Bad Bad, show we watch terrible movies and tell you if you should too. I'm your host, Mr. Brian Shogun, with the other host sitting across the Good Bad or Bad Bad table in the Good Bad or Bad Bad International Studios. Kyle Hinton. It's not international.
No, and I'm not going to tell you exactly where we're broadcasting from, but we can tell you this much. Pretty cold up here.
Pretty cold day. So, on today's episode, we watched a kind of the movie. I've never heard of this one. I don't know where you found this.
This was one that I kind of ran across.
Yeah.
This is when I saw in somebody else's kind of feed that they were like, this looks like a fun, goofy movie.
Yeah.
And then I skimmed through a little bit of it and I was like, oh my God.
So
this is awesome.
Yes, this falls right in line. If you're watching this episode and one of your favorite episodes of ours are like high kicks.
This is like a 2-foot-long mullet.
Feathered in the front, ponytail down his back. Motherfucker looks like Dave Coulier from Full House. Did even more cocaine and way more push-ups. Or overkill.
They pull out guns. Freeze!
Or rough cut.
Molly? God, Molly! Shit! Molly!
Those early 90s action martial arts extravaganzas. I mean, you're in for a treat.
Skinny, like jeans, I guess not really skinny jeans.
Nah, they're just normal pants.
Acid wash jeans, really high up on the waist, wearing a belt.
with like a flouncy button down or polo shirt on our main character, and he kicks ass in that outfit.
Foley sound effects galore.
Yeah.
I think we should be going.
Okay, so the movie is Stickfighter. Stickfighter. I say that because I originally wrote down in my notes Stickman, and then I was watching, the title came up and it said Stickfighter. But throughout the movie, they all call him Stickman.
Stickman. Stickman!
Which, by the way, he really doesn't use a stick terribly much.
No, hey, he never does he ever use the stick that they give him?
Stickman.
Matter?
Like one fight, maybe?
I think once.
Because we'll get into it. But so the movie's called Stickfighter, and it's by, it is written by and stars the Kelly something.
I think it's McClung.
Kelly McClung. And I didn't realize at first that he wrote the movie. So a la Rough Cut, this is I want to be an action star, so I'm going to write myself a vehicle. And boy, he's a terrible actor.
You're not going anywhere.
Bullshit!
And a terrible writer.
The lines he gives people to talk about his praise are pretty fantastic.
They are incredible, and we will get to them. But this is very clearly a vanity project.
Absolutely.
That he goes out of his way to have every other character in the movie talk about how much of a badass he is.
An all-around badass.
By the way, he kind of does films, but he works as a stunt coordinator.
Oh. Yeah.
Which makes sense. But like, this is another film where it's a whole bunch of stunt people that they were like, yeah, we're working on these films all the time. We can do this, right?
Yeah. Now, this movie overall doesn't look I mean, it looks like a mediocre B-tier action movie. It's not shot terribly, like, and it's not. There's not like a bunch of blatant mistakes. It doesn't look like Meltdown, is what you know what I mean. So like Meltdown is like a vanity project by a guy, but nobody working on that production really knew how to make a movie. People here at least kind of knew how to point a camera and like frame up a shot, relatively speaking. You know what I mean? But it's not interesting. It's not well done. The biggest thing that this movie has going for it is how terrible the dialogue and acting is.
You had a second shot at this cop, and then you split? So you terrorized the girl, and then you let the cop who killed my son live another day?
Well, it wasn't like that.
Throughout the course, and how like ridiculous the plot is.
And the hair.
And the hair, and clothes, of course, because it's the early 90s. But let's get into it, because yeah, the thing that stuck out to me was the writing. And the exposition and the pacing, like the way this movie starts right in the cold open is normally what would happen at the end of like the first act. He's like, fuck it, it's happening in the opening. They get into a shootout, his partner dies, and he quits the force immediately.
I quit.
And the gun.
I don't need a gun.
Yeah, it's end of the third act this is the plot, this is what's driving it. You do that within 5 minutes and you're like, man, maybe we'll introduce some characters along the way.
Yeah. So they go, him and his buddy are going into this drug deal or whatever to like bust some guys.
And had they waited a little bit longer,
backup would have been there, because there was tons of people coming, like tons of cops show up a few minutes later, but him and his partner bust into this room and just immediately start shooting everybody.
They yell at people, freeze, don't move, on the ground. It's like everybody's either sitting or already on the ground.
Yeah.
Get the fuck on the ground! Get on the ground! Get on the ground!
Yeah, and then some lady comes out of the bathroom and starts yelling at him and is followed by some dude with a shotgun.
And they blow him away.
They blast that dude, kill him immediately, and then very slowly a guy stands up from the couch and like slow motion pulls out a gun like, hey, screw you guys.
Fuck you!
This movie's very guilty of the bad guys being completely incompetent idiots.
You have the right to remain silent!
None of them understand what the point of a gun is. None of them understand how guns work, because they all think you have to, they have guns. They all seem to think that they need to walk up to the bad guy to shoot him.
Let him go!
I mean, I have to get within range, right?
Yeah. And apparently the range on these guns is 3 feet.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, what are you doing? You all have guns and you walk up to the guy whose name is literally Stickfighter. Like, that's the, okay, great, cool. So there's a great scene where he starts reading the Miranda rights as he's beating up everybody in this.
Anything you have can be and will be. You have the right to seek medical assistance.
They all started slow motion attacking him one at a time, and he's like going through the Miranda rights as he's beating everybody up.
The right to get your ass kicked.
Yeah. Some great classy, classic 90s synth and drums going on during this. The music in this movie is kind of delightfully terrible 90s synth-like stuff. It's amazing. And then his buddy gets blasted.
He gets double tapped.
Yeah. He gets shot with a shotgun by some guy that comes out of a room and falls on our main character. Mm-hmm. And the guy who walks up like 2 feet away and shoots him again in the chest with his shotgun. Motherfucker! So his partner's dead, immediately killed in the opening act, and then his chief or whatever shows up, who is this whole scene is amazing. Everything in this movie is so cliche and trope ridden. Every conversation.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Did you read them their rights?
He runs in and he's like, "Did you read them their rights?" And I love, again, it's so immediately over dramatic. I mean, his partner just got shot, I guess, but our main character's like, "They don't have any rights."
Yes.
Right? They got no fucking rights.
It's a great line.
And then going to the cliche nature of this, immediately his chief responds with,
You're out of control, Lambert.
"You're over the line."
Take my badge.
Yeah.
With the gun too. I don't need.
I don't need a gun.
And the gun.
I don't need a gun.
These things are certified deadly weapons.
Now find me a mop so I can break it in half.
Yeah, well, I mean, because that's the thing. Whatever stick he has to be broken in half so he can have 2 sticks and like and swing them around like an idiot. I love. He's like, "You're not." He's like, "I'm getting out of here. You're not going anywhere." Bullshit.
You're not going anywhere.
Bullshit.
Bullshit.
It's just so much testosterone-filled nonsense back and forth.
You have to put Chuck Rampart in that.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Bullshit.
Bull fucking shit!
It's so good. It's amazing. It escalates so quickly. Everything immediately happens just in this opening scene.
This opening of this film has more testosterone than the meeting of Duke and Dylan in Predator.
Yeah.
You son of a bitch.
Bullshit.
Bullshit.
What's the matter?
So then the title comes up, and I love this. I think, I don't know if they realize that Stickfighter is not nearly as badass of a title for a movie as they thought it was.
It has a whole nother connotation on YouTube, which is stick fighting animations.
Oh yeah, and there's like a game I think too that's called like Stickfighter. Yeah. There's that, and which that obviously I know about. But even disregarding that, just the title Stickfighter, it's like
it didn't age well.
It's like naming your movie Gunfight, like Gun Shooter. Like what?
Whoa. Write that down.
Gun Shooter is not, like, if you're gonna do that, at least go something like, the Mark Wahlberg movie, The Shooter or whatever, at least it's short and kind of like mysterious, but like Stickfighter is so, it's so stupid. Stickman's even a better title than Stickfighter.
It's like saying Fist Puncher.
Yeah, which is, that's what I kept thinking of the Community joke. There's an episode of Community where they're watching a classic, like a fake bad 80s movie, and it's called Kick Puncher. It's actually called Kick Puncher, and it's like, it's freaking incredible.
I am Kick Puncher. My cyber punches have the power of kicks.
Then we get the classic 90s shot. Wide shot, him standing on a cliff in silhouette by the ocean doing martial arts training. I was like,
yes,
woo, high kicks, here we are, baby.
Kicks.
They are leaning right into every good bad trope that we love.
He needs more of like the mullet going, because his hair is just like perfect. It's like a plaster mold that they just kind of stuck.
It looks like Lego hair. It's like clicked onto his fucking head. So then he goes to like a hotel or he's somewhere. I don't remember where, the bank. I don't remember where he goes. Lobby of some building, and some guy randomly knocks over an old man and steals his bag.
What the fuck? Like.
He just happens to be by a crime occurred.
Well, first off, he goes up to this.
He heard a crime go. What?
He goes up to this receptionist.
Yeah.
And he like kind of hits on her in a way.
Yeah.
I'm expecting a call from a young lady.
What's her name?
Luella. If she calls, would you tell her I stepped out?
Okay.
Thanks.
In an awkward way, he's like, whoa, if this person calls, you tell them I'm stepping out. But in a weird way.
But he like winks at her, you know what I mean? And she's like, I don't know what you're
I couldn't tell if he was trying to be like, this is my badass hero line. Like, no.
Luella, if she calls, would you tell her I stepped out?
Okay.
Thanks.
This movie also has a bad case of not knowing how to write one-liners because his final one-liner in this movie when he kills like that one guy where he hangs him or whatever. Whoa, I can't even remember. It's like eat this dickwad. It's like what? That's not.
Later, dickwad.
It doesn't even have any relevance to the guy or the fight or anything.
That sounds like a line from Goonies.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like something a little kid would say as their one-liner. Suck this, dickwad.
Later, dickwad.
So this guy gets his bag stolen, and then our guy uses a cane in the coolest, stupidest way to incapacitate the robber. And then he goes to I can't stress enough how much this guy's like martial arts in this movie is this weird form of him like doing weird submission holds where he like bends people's arms in weird ways and are like, oh no, you got my fingers upside down, I'm stuck. Like
I have to give up. You overpowered me.
Yeah, and it's like it's exactly that kind of thing that I'm fairly certain absolutely would not work in real life, but like in a movie, like it's kind of ridiculous and yeah. But this one he like uses the cane to like pin his arm to the ground and then has a guy stand on it so he can't get up or something.
And with this, you're like, okay, yeah, so that's a save the cat moment. He's got to help out this old guy in need and stuff. So like
he picks the old guy up.
He picks the old guy up, and a guy comes out of nowhere and fires a round into this old man.
You sure you're gonna be okay?
My notes went from regular font to capitalized very quickly in this moment. I was like,
what the hell?
Look, he just saved that nice old man. Oh my God! He just got shot. And then so he chases the guy that shot him out of the building and is chasing him across the street, and we get some great stunts here. The main one being this guy gets hit by a car and does a full-on body flip over the fucking car.
And this is just, I couldn't tell if how much Foley was going on, the sound Foley, and this is the particular shit I'm talking about. He's running down the street and his footsteps go from very, very quiet to loud. They're very loud.
I did not notice this, but I'm gonna have to go back and pay attention.
And I couldn't tell I couldn't necessarily tell if it was because they shoved the boom pole up his ass while they were shooting this, or they fucked up the Foley.
Yeah. I don't know, because there is some pretty great the fight sound effects are, I mean, they're kind of classic, but they're not particularly good. They're
it's take some like celery and break some celery and then slap some ham.
Yeah, slap a shank of beef or whatever, and put that sound. Yeah. And then so he
well, some of the sound effects sound like sound effects you'd make with your mouth.
Yeah.
While you're...
Yeah. Just imagine some guy in the studio watching the fight. Like,
I mean, nobody we know would ever use their mouth for sound effects for anything, right?
Nope. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Well, I love. So then the cops show up, and they like after this all happens on the street, and they're like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I'm a cop."
I'm a cop.
But he just turned his badge in. He's not a cop.
He's not a cop. He quit. He literally quit.
He quit.
I quit.
He said, "I quit." Okay, so you're not a cop anymore.
They pull out his badge, which shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
See what we have here. He's a cop.
He's a cop.
He's a cop. All right. And they just let him leave.
No, yeah, you investigate.
Yeah. And then, but he randomly runs into the woman in the Mustang, who I guess is... So I felt like this wasn't established, but he went to another town to visit this woman.
Well, they're in L.A. now.
Yeah.
Originally, it wasn't in L.A.
No.
It's just somewhere
Yeah, now
else.
they're in L.A. And this woman, and at first, I thought this woman was... I thought she was the ex-wife or the wife or girlfriend of his partner who got shot.
I'm
sorry. I know he was your best friend.
And I was rooting this whole time. I was like, is he really gonna fuck his dead partner's girlfriend? It's actually his dead partner's sister. Which, all right.
And his handsiness with her is like, you think there's already something established.
Yeah.
This is it?
And then he's like, I can't. This doesn't feel right.
This doesn't feel right.
Maybe this isn't such a good idea.
But next scene, I'm totally gonna fuck you. It totally feels right then. And then he's driving in the car with her and they're having a discussion. And I love, she goes, they're like, again, this is the writing of this actor making sure everybody talks about how much of a badass she is, or he is. He's like, she talks to him and they're talking about like his job and being a cop. And she's like, but don't you ever get scared?
Don't you ever get scared?
And he just goes, no.
No.
It's like, great, okay, cool.
Didn't you know I'm a badass?
Yeah, literally a certified badass, as we'll find out. So they get randomly get rear-ended on the street, and he gets out and just starts fighting.
And the people he fights, these are not connected to anything. These are just guys.
Yeah.
Who get out and start randomly fighting.
Initially, I thought they were going to end up being thugs for the guy who's trying to kill him.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, because nope, just two random dudes. And I love, he gets out and the guy just cold cocks him. It just punches him in the face. And I was like, okay, he would be fucked if some guy punched you without, I don't care how much of a badass you are. But he gets cold cocked and he's fine.
Déjame, güey, pendejo.
But I love, my favorite thing about this scene as he's fighting these guys is the cutbacks. The cuts back to the woman.
Yes, she's like
reaction.
They put the camera on her and we're like, all right, react to stuff.
React to stuff. You're scared. Go.
Be careful.
And she's like, oh. It's like 8 million reactions in like 4 seconds. She's like, oh no. It's
we can cut around that in post, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Moving on.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Careful! Be careful!
It's so ridiculous. I love it so much.
Be careful!
And then he does this thing where he gets a guy wrapped his leg around him and starts jumping and kicking him in the... It's so hard to describe. He has one leg wrapped around the guy's head, so the guy's bending over, and then he's jumping and kicking him with his other leg.
It looks so stupid! It looks so stupid!
It's ridiculous. I love it so much. It's like, this is one of those things that if this was like somebody really talented doing it, like Jackie Chan, it's hilarious and amazing. But this guy and the overall tone of this movie isn't as delightful as like a Jackie Chan film where that works.
Jackie Chan. The great thing about Jackie Chan and why he's so good at that stuff is he usually has the description of kind of failing upwards.
Right. He's usually a lot of times his characters are kind of inherently goofy on their own, like, depending on the movie, but
like they'll make a mistake, but then it somehow helps them.
Yeah, and he's really good at improvising on his feet. Our guy's supposed to be just the most badass that ever badassed. So like him doing these goofy like jump kick things that like look ridiculous don't kind of work for his character, but okay. And he does another like one of those weird things where he bends the guy's arm like this and then like throws him, and he's like, ugh.
They get to her house though. This her house.
Yeah.
And it is trashed in the most unbelievably staged trashing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like everything is trashed at an angle.
At a 45-degree angle.
God, look at my house. Look at this.
They're like, look.
Oh
no!
Does somebody not like you or what?
Do you think this was done to me specifically? My chair, oh no.
Somebody ruined everything.
Even the stuff that's like trash in the apartment is all trashed towards the camera.
Yeah. It's like somebody comes in, they're like, no, what have they done? It's fucking amazing. But they're still there or something because he hears them, and then he comes back in and he's like, whoever they are, they're gone.
Whoever they were is gone.
So then this scene is one of my favorite scenes in this entire movie. They're just in her living room chit-chatting, and she walks over to the mantle and grabs...
Why does she have these?
I don't know why she has these. I don't understand what the context of this is, but she just says out loud, world-class kickboxer.
World-class kickboxer.
International stick fighting champion.
International stick fighting champion.
Drug cop.
Drug cop.
And all-around badass.
An all-around badass.
About our main character.
Wait, hang on. Say it slower.
An all-around badass.
Say it slower.
I mean, this is the verbal equivalent of fellatio.
Yeah. Oh, it's straight up. It's ridiculous. And she's like, Alex always called you the stick man, and now I know why.
Alex always called you the stick man. Now I know why.
And I'm like, what? No, you don't.
By the way, that could easily be misconstrued.
Yeah,
as an incredibly gay relationship.
The context of that could be very different than she's assuming. But she goes, but the stupidest thing about this scene is she goes, Alex always called you the stick man, and now I know why. And I'm like, no, you don't. He hasn't used a stick to beat anybody up yet.
The good writing for that is like, oh, he told you that?
Yeah. And then she grabs the sticks from the mantle. He goes, oh yeah, that's the reason.
That's it. That's exactly the reason.
And she hands him the sticks that she just randomly has, and goes, and
one for play.
One for play.
One for play.
And then he takes the other stick
and spins it.
And he goes, one for war.
What? Wait, what does that mean, Kyle? What, in the context of this movie with those two weapons, what does that possibly mean?
It means nothing, and it means everything.
Fuck you, no it doesn't. I don't, no, I really, truly, what does the one for play mean?
One for play?
And the one for war? Because it's just two sticks, and you would assume he would just use both of them to beat people up with. So does he have one that's, it would make sense to me if one of them was like a bamboo one, and the other one she pulls out is like steel or something, and it's like one for play, and it's like his practice one, and then one for war, and it's like, oh shit, he could murder somebody with that. But no, it's just two of the same sticks, and I was like, okay, cool, great, whatever. It's so, I love how self-serious this fucking movie is, and does not understand that it's the most ridiculous thing. I love it so much.
You told me they'd protect me. You should have given them to Alex.
We get some great 90s jams with some sweet drums. And then we cut to a pool party where there's cocaine and long butts by the pool, and I was like, thank you, 90s, baby.
Boobs everywhere.
Yeah. So many boobs and long butts, and they're doing cocaine, and this is where we're introduced to like the big bad, kind of. He's not even in the movie that much.
Mr. Monopoly without a monocle?
I meant Mr. Clean. The dude is Mr. fucking Clean.
Mr. Clean doesn't have a mustache, though.
Does he not?
I don't think so.
And so they're there to discuss the fact that they tried to kill this cop, but they couldn't.
Whenever this guy approaches, this guy the guy who's informing him, is deceptively tall, and
is he?
Yeah. Well, whenever they cut to the boss talking to him, he's looking up at this guy because the actor's taller.
Put that thing out.
Well, it's making it look like he's one of the guys sitting down. If you're not looking close enough,
He is, isn't he?
No, he
He's
wasn't.
not?
No, he's standing up and massaging the woman.
I thought she was massaging him.
No.
Wait.
Yeah, that's why. That's how screwed up the camera is.
I did not notice this
He's
at all.
massaging. I'm guessing his actual wife.
Yeah.
All the
or whatever. Yeah.
But he's massaging her and talking to this guy, and I thought, I was like, is he sitting? The way that camera shot looks, it looks like he's sitting.
No idea.
Yeah.
But because I love, he goes, send the women inside.
Marty, why don't you take the girls and go on inside?
And they all go inside, and then we cut back, and they're having a discussion, and there's a woman standing there massaging him, and I'm like, what are we?
Not only that. Okay, so the scene where they bring in the guy who failed to kill the cop is the second he walked in there, I was like, oh god, he's getting shot into the pool.
Oh yeah, he's getting shot. Motherfucker's getting shot. And the scene where he gets shot,
it's
the
amazing.
Guy is so incredible. Mr. Clean's looking down, and slow-mo looks up into the camera, and then fucking blasts him. It's incredible.
And the flip he does out of that chair.
He does a full-on flip out of the chair into the swimming pool. It's amazing. There's a lot of people getting thrown ridiculous distances in this movie, or like falling out of windows. It's pretty awesome. At first I thought he poisoned him because he gives him a drink and the guy drinks it and there's like a weird music and like everybody's looking at him. I was like, did he poison?
Sounds reasonable.
No, just pulled out a
Which
shotgun.
also could have worked perfectly because then he can just start vomiting blood and falls into the pool and you get the same shot.
Yep.
It just doesn't look as stupid whenever you shotgun blast him 10 feet in the air.
Cartwheels through the air. Oh, it's amazing. Then we cut to the strip club. Classic. Gotta go to a strip club. It's one of those movies.
And by the way, the strip club, I looked
absolutely.
it up. It is absolutely, not only that, it's a strip club. I did some research on this, which is always fun
Kyle,
to do research.
Number one strip club researcher in the country.
I finally found it. It's just off Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood. I just looked it up. Guess who owns that place right now? David Arquette. Yes,
that's a weird.
I know
tidbit of knowledge.
I know. I looked it up. He's like, David Arquette decided to buy this strip club, this famous strip club, and turn it into a classy burlesque thing.
Oh, okay.
I was like, what? What?
Because I noticed, I was watching this movie, I was like, I recognize the outside of this strip club.
It's in Black Rose.
It's in the beginning of the very opening shot of Black Rose, where it's a stripper leaving and she gets killed by the serial killer or whatever, is absolutely the same strip club. Because I went and I found it, I put them side by side, I was like, wait a second. What the fuck? So apparently, I guess this is just like an easy strip club to film at that probably shows up in lots of movies.
I was just surprised to go through it and be like, the fuck is David Arquette doing owning this thing?
Whatever, man. Good for you. So they go in and they meet the old friend guy who's his old partner or his dad's old friend from Vietnam or whatever.
This guy, he looks like other actors. This actor does.
He looks like other actors.
I know. I couldn't tell exactly who it was, but it looks so familiar.
Really? I didn't think it looked familiar. But anyways, so they go and they sit down and the guy tells them they're sitting at their table, his table.
Hey, bud, this is my table.
And they get up and go to a different table. He goes, this is also my table.
This is my table too, bud.
And I was like, oh, great.
Okay.
And they get into a sweet fight.
This guy, of course, wearing another Canadian tuxedo.
Yes, a completely slow-mo fight. All of this fight is in slow motion. He gets a pool stick, breaks it in half, and beats people up with
he
it.
hits this one guy who's starting shit, which opens up a chain reaction.
Everybody fights.
Everybody coming
at him. It's like Rough Cut, where like they're in the restaurant and just like random people start jumping into the fight. It's like, what is happening? All right.
You want me to get a stick?
No, George, I don't think you'll have to get the stick.
And he's just destroying property.
He beats up like 20 dudes in this bar, like 5
destroys tables, breaks pool cues.
Yeah.
And the owner of the place is just like, this guy probably saved all of our lives.
Yeah.
Like,
he probably saved all our lives.
He also kind of started the fight a little bit. Like, and
also broke a lot of your shit.
Yeah. And I love the cops. The same cops show up again, and they're like, "You again," and the owner's like, "He's fine. Let him leave," and they just let him leave.
Oh, okay, that's
great.
Why don't you come downtown with us? Make my life a little easier. Fill out some paperwork, and then you can go back to being a tourist. Let's go.
And then he goes to the... Oh, no, he doesn't. They don't let him leave. He has to go talk to the cops.
Yes.
They bring him in, and he goes, and he's in the office, and he fucking attacks a cop in the lieutenant's office.
What the hell?
Why don't you sit down?
And I was like, what? This movie would be amazing if he did that and just got tased and like arrested it right there, and the rest of the movie is him going through the legal process of trying to find a lawyer and shit, and like, because he arm bars a cop in front of the like lieutenant or whatever, who's also a terrible actor in this fucking movie. He's so bad.
Things aren't quite that simple, Mr. Lambert.
And then the other cop, the Michelle or whatever, pulls a gun on him, and it's fucking bonkers. But then they just let him leave. They just let him leave, even though he just attacked a cop in the fucking chief's
of course,
office.
for some reason, and this is just a little thing that annoys me, is when you have cops, especially in the 90s, have hammer action revolvers.
Yeah.
And don't have, like, I don't know, a semi-automatic Glock or something like that. It's like, you realize, like, nobody would ever really have that.
That is what they carried, is it not? I'm pretty sure they carried.
You think cops nowadays? I mean,
nowadays, yeah.
Well, this is only 30 years ago.
Only 30? Yeah. I think it's pretty common.
I don't know if you know this.
Revolvers.
I don't know if you know this. Semi-automatic pistols have been around since like 1901.
I'm aware they've been around. I just think it was fairly common for some. I could be wrong, but I think it was actually pretty common all the way up until like the 90s or something for cops.
The real question is, what do you think?
Yeah, what? Because we are just bullshitting. We have no idea.
I was alive in the 90s.
Yeah. Oh, I love. So then they're talking to him, and this is another one of those movies where our main character's just an asshole, but we're supposed to like him, and it's like great because they go to him and they're like, you know, he's like, I'm gonna stop these bad guys, and they're like, you don't have any authority.
You don't have any authority.
He says, I have the authority of justice.
Yeah, well, I have the authority of justice.
No, you don't. Not really. Because what he should have said, because saying I have the authority of justice implies that there's some legal justification on his side, which there's not.
Can you imagine that if you being used in court? And how does the defendant plead? The defendant would like to plead the authority. I have the authority of justice.
I am the law, basically, is what he says in that moment. But it'd be great if he goes, I have the, he should say, they should say, you don't have any authority, and he should say, I am the authority or something like that. That would be a badass line, but I have the authority of justice doesn't even really make sense.
Look, that bastard and his son killed my partner. I'm gonna take them both down.
And then he takes a nap, and this turns on.
Oh my god!
Are you going to sleep?
Okay, so the entire time we've had this actor and actress together, he has been handsy with her.
Yeah.
He has been, hands all over hips and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, they're relatively okay.
Yeah, maybe they had a thing going on at one point.
And if the idea was he's trying to entice her, succeeded at this point, she is completely just...
She comes out of the shower just ready to go and jumps on him, or not jumps on him, but lays down next to him and touches his face and starts kissing him. And he's like, no.
I can't. See, you're my best friend's little sister, which means obviously we can't bone until the third act.
Yeah, when I force myself on you.
You do not! Stop it!
Because this movie is fucking everywhere with their relationship. It's like the weirdest fucking thing. And so he turns her down, and then she's like, okay. And then they just cuddle for a while. But my favorite thing about this whole scene is the thing that gets her hot and ready to go is he's laying in bed, and she goes, are you just going to take a nap? And he goes, yeah. And then it cuts back to her, and she's like, that's really fucking hot. I'm like, what?
I have to do this now.
Naps are her fetish, apparently. She's like really fucking into it. And then the next morning they wake up and some guys show up to kill them.
Okay, so this collection of fights is probably the greatest.
We're right at it.
God. So they just woke up in the hotel.
Yeah.
And we've had this happen maybe at least once so far, that John, I think his name is. Lambert.
Yeah.
He has like a sixth sense where he just knows that bad guys are afoot.
Luella,
Yeah?
I think you should hurry.
Yeah, he really does.
There are criminals afoot.
Literally, when they get down to the parking garage, that is exactly what happens. We'll talk about it.
So he's telling her, "Hurry up, get dressed. We gotta go." And they come in here
into the room,
right as he gets his shoes on, because you know he's got to be sure-footed and all that.
He's got to be able to kick him. He's got to be able to specifically spin kick, because that's his go-to kick move.
But he takes out two, and then one as she's getting ready and getting out there, kicks him through the 5th floor of a hotel.
Yeah.
From there, they go out to try to get to the elevator.
Yeah.
Which
a guy's in the elevator.
Sure.
And he spin kicks that guy.
So instead of taking the elevator, they're going to the stairs.
Yeah.
There's a guy coming up the stairs.
Lampard?
And she's like, John, there's a guy there. He jumps.
This is the best scene. Because
he jumps like 10 feet in the air.
Legs akimbo.
Lampard!
And I was like, wait a second, is that how they intended that to look? As he starts flying through the air? Because I thought that he was going to drop kick him. I thought they were going for a drop kick.
He fucking teabags him and then teabags his face down this entire stairs.
Sled down the stairs with his crotch in his face. It's incredible. And then he gets to the bottom and just punches him in the face. And the only thing that would have made that scene any better is if, as he was sliding down, he was just punching him in the face over.
But that's that shot where he jumps 10 feet in the air and does that spread eagle. It's like, just the greatest shot in the movie.
Because I was like, wait, what is happening?
I'm hoping that we were able to describe that, because I cannot stop laughing thinking about it.
It's so ridiculous. Because again, you fully think in that moment he's gonna jump and drop kick him. That's what I like. Yeah, he's gonna jump over the railing and drop kick him or something. No, he lands.
That sounds like some WWE commentary.
Yeah, he lands crotch first from the top rope.
He teabags this man down 5 flights of stairs.
A spiral staircase. It's amazing. Oh, I love it so much. Oh, it's so ridiculous. Oh my god. And then they get down into the garage, and this is the moment where his spider senses tingle, and they get to the car,
and it looks completely clear.
Yeah,
looks completely clear.
Like,
instant 3 bad guys.
Just walked up. It's like, what? And the thing is, we don't even... Why? Like, they clearly were lacking some coverage shots, because we're supposed to him go... And then we're supposed to get a shot around the garage and see nothing. Then we're supposed to cut back to him, and he's like... And then we cut back and they kind of sneak out from behind the edges. And then we cut to that top-down shot where they come in. But they didn't have the shots of them sneaking out. And so it's like, where did they come? Okay,
they also didn't have time to do this fight scene really well. So they just went ahead and did one spin kick to get all three of them.
All three of them in the face with one kick. Fucking A. And then he starts whipping them with an antenna because of course he does. And then he's like, let's get out of here. And there's a guy with a gun, and her line delivery, she goes,
let's get out of here.
Oh, shit.
Drive!
Oh, shit! It reminded me of Jack in
Shark Attack 3.
Yeah, Shark Attack 3. Shit!
Oh, shit. Shit!
Shit!
It's amazing. All the clips from that movie.
Yeah, really, it is. And then they get to the ocean. And they talk by the ocean.
God, the audio is so fucked
so
in the
bad.
scene.
Shit happens. We came into the room ready for anything.
But there's a shot where it's on her and he's talking, and the audio is doubled over itself.
We blew away one of the scum who came up with a gun shooting.
Also, she's not a great actress, but she is so infinitely better of an actor than Kelly McClung is.
I feel very sorry for her because it feels like she was tortured on set.
Really?
For the most part. For some of the stuff she's in.
To me, it just seemed like, I was like, she's not like a phenomenal, at least not in this, she's not like a phenomenal actress, but in comparison to the person she's acting against.
Yeah.
It should have been over. Another man, a big blonde, came in with a shotgun firing.
She is fantastic.
If the car scene where she was reacting is any indication, they're just screaming at her, act!
Yeah.
You're an actor, act!
Act harder! Act harder! And then they go and they get to like his house or her apartment so they can get some clothes. Yeah. And they get there. And I love this. He goes change or whatever. And she's in the room and she just starts changing. And he says, you know what you're doing, don't you? And I'm like,
you're doing that on purpose.
Changing her clothes. What do you want her to do? He's like, yeah, you're over there trying to turn me on. I was like, dude, she's literally just changing her clothes.
She was ready to fuck you last night.
She was literally just trying to change her clothes, you fucking weirdo. And then he nut punches a dude for the first time, but not the last time.
Here's the thing: when he gives her, whenever John gets in the car and gives her the keys, she immediately starts the car. And this is one of those weird sound things that just was like, "Are you kidding me?" They Foleyed in your car in the ignition, but the ignition's not on.
Yeah.
Beep,
did
sound.
they?
Yeah, over the engine starting and them driving away.
So they go to the strip club to talk to the guy that I can't remember his name, who owns the strip club or whatever. And they're like, we're gonna go after what's the guy's name? I have it here, Dirk Riley.
Yes.
And my favorite thing is the guy's like, Dirk Riley's bad news.
You ever hear of a Dirk Riley?
Dirk Riley? Dirk Riley's bad news, John.
I'm like, of course he is. His name's Dirk Riley. There's no way somebody named Dirk Riley couldn't be bad news. And the strip club owner's like, hey, George, bring me my gun.
Hey, George, bring me my gun.
Because he's going to give Kick Puncher his gun.
Wait, did he say George?
Yeah, that's the name of the bartender.
Okay, this is going to be a mindfuck. His name in the credits is Old Chinese Man.
Yeah, Old Chinese Man. His name's George.
Yeah.
Wait, so they call him George in the movie.
Yeah.
But he's just Old Chinese Man in the credits. Good job, movie. A+ stuff.
Hey, George.
And then he gets to a warehouse. I guess he's going to fight. Doesn't matter. He gets to a warehouse full of cardboard barrels.
Empty cardboard barrels.
Just everywhere.
Every single warehouse. It's like standard warehouse procedure, empty cardboard barrels.
This scene, my favorite thing about this, is this the one where the cops Yeah. This is the one where the cops are there and they're injured. Like they set up the bad guys set up something to have the cops.
Which actually kind of seemed like a smart way to go about it from the bad guy's perspective.
Yeah. He basically, they set up a meeting where the cops are trying to meet with our main character, and they like set up a fake meeting between them in order to like ambush our main character. And he gets there and the cops are injured on the floor. And as he's walking through the scene, so there's all these cardboard barrels, but there's also like, I was like, oh, I can see the things he's going to use to fight people. There's like a broom standing up against a barrel and a giant pipe standing up against another barrel. And I was like, oh, I just love as we sweep through this shot, we can just see like all of the props we're going to be using over the course of the thing. And then so he gets jumped by the bad guys or whatever.
By the other son.
Yeah.
By the way. So he killed one of the sons.
Yeah.
And the other son is the one that killed his partner.
And ran away.
And now that the other son's also like a brick shit house.
Also is a stick fighter, apparently.
He's also a stick fighter.
Because this scene is amazing. He gets out, first he gets a pipe, which is very clearly a piece of PVC tubing, because when they drop it on the ground, it goes clankety click, 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 click. Like it's not metal at all. And my favorite thing in this fucking scene, and it happens again later, but this is the first time it happens, is that the other son guy gets a stick, so now they both have a stick, and they do the thing from Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, in the final duel between Obi-Wan and Anakin, where there's that moment where they're fighting, and they just spin their lightsabers at each other.
Look, we're powering up for a big attack.
Yeah, they literally sit there and spin their sticks at each other for like 45 goddamn seconds. It's amazing. I love it so much. Oh, and then he nut punches him.
And then the cops have to break it up.
Yeah, the cops show up, and my favorite thing is, so they tell them all to freeze, and they
run. They just run.
They just run.
And back away. Do it now.
The bad guy runs out, and they go to start shooting at him, and they miss and hit our good guy.
Did they hit him?
Yes,
Because
they graze him. They barely, because I thought the same thing, because I was like, it looks like they shoot him because he like reacts and falls or whatever a little bit, but then we just see a bruise from the thing, but he also looks at his side and it looks like he got grazed by a bullet. Gotcha. I think is what
because I thought that's where he got hit by the stick.
He did, and that's what the big bruise is, but there's also like this little part that's like bleeding that he looks at that I think is supposed to be a bullet wound or something.
Thank God LA cops are really shitty.
Yeah, it's amazing. Then he gets back to the hotel room, and I don't understand what this is. He opens a door to like a red blinking room.
Yes.
And then closes.
Well, no, that's supposed to be yes. It looks so weird, right?
Yeah. So that's supposed to be okay. So what was supposed to be transpiring? Because in that case, is he supposed to be looking in and seeing like her, and because they're waiting for him in the strip club.
And they apparently he can hear them across a strip club, which is just full of dance music.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, he's okay.
But then he just comes back, he opens the door and then he shuts it and then he just lays down and takes a nap.
He opens the door and she's like, I'm just so worried about him.
Yeah.
He didn't tell me where he was gonna be.
Yeah.
And he's like, I failed her.
And then he shuts the door. I guess, okay, that is not what I got. I was very confused by that scene and what the fuck was supposed to be happening. One of the bad guys is like, is he a ninja? And
No, he's far worse.
Because he's real.
Ninjas.
Shade on ninjas, not real. Got him.
This guy looks like Stephen Baldwin in The Usual Suspects.
Yeah.
Before The Usual Suspects came out.
Yeah, it truly does. He's got like the little like weird like goatee or whatever.
Yeah. And the hair that comes down like perfectly.
Yeah, like the bowl cut weird thing. Yeah, it's kind of amazing.
Well, I distinctly remember waking up long enough to see Lampert kneeling over me.
Sure he wasn't the one trying to kill you?
I know this sounds weird, but there was almost like a kind of a peacefulness, a sort of tenderness.
Then we get the weirdest sex scene in a movie ever because it's interspersed. This is... Why did they choose to do this,
I don't know.
They have this sex scene between our two main characters happens. And then as this is happening, we're cutting back and forth to the bad guys torturing and murdering the strippers. And everybody in the
down,
strip
like
club.
Downstairs or something like that.
Or next door, because seemingly, because that door he opened and looked in was seemingly next door.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're really into it, Brian.
Well, the thing that's so strange is like, I was like, what am I supposed to be getting out of this scene? Because they're playing sexy music the whole time. Or supposedly sexy music. It's the 90s. None of this music was sexy. And then like we're watching them fuck, but then it's like cutting back and they're like shooting kneecaps and cutting people's throats, and I'm like,
fuck you, man. What do you want here? Who the hell are you guys? Ow!
This is gonna get very tedious, Mr. Mio.
This is so strange. Like, this is such a weird choice for your action flick, but it's whatever. And they climax. They climax as the bad guy slits the throat of the club owner.
Oh, God.
I was like, I feel like there's some very pointed metaphor going on here.
Well, there kind of is, because what is an orgasm but a little death?
Petit moi. Petit moi.
But the other thing is, when that scene starts off, she is like hitting him and angry at him.
Oh, it's the classic Sean Connery.
Yeah, it's like they ripped it straight out of like Humphrey Bogart or something like that.
I didn't do not. Stop it.
They go in there and they find him dead.
It's amazing. His rigor mortis sets in real quick.
He's in the chair like... sitting in the chair.
With eyes completely open.
And they're like, oh no. And then Lambert's crying in the scene.
Oh, it's great.
We need to get out of here.
Then we see the guys gearing up to go kill everybody in the camo. This is getting ready for the big ending. And they're wearing camo to go fight in an urban factory. They're putting on Woods camo to go, okay, cool. Like, why wouldn't you put them in black or something? But sure, fine. And this is some of the sound effects you're talking about. There's one particular moment where a guy has a shotgun and he like pulls the slide back.
But there's nothing in there.
And there's nothing in there, and he doesn't even shut it all the way, but it makes the full like cocking sound, but he just like opens it a little bit and it's like, and I'm like, no.
Thank you.
Good job. But our guy actually has a gun for this final scene. He gets a gun and he walks into this warehouse. This is the big final showdown.
This is where he meets up with his old boss.
Yeah, the old boss walks in, and the chief is corrupt, we find out.
Oh my God.
Oh, what a twist.
Bad guys always win anyway. 2 million in uncut heroin. What would you have done?
So he's corrupt, and this fucking scene is so stupid. Him and two other, I guess, corrupt cops. I don't know who those guys are.
Once again, have their guns no less than 6 inches from him.
Oh, they walk up, and there's 3 guns now pointing at his head and around him in a circle. And the chief says to him, Johnny, you're not that fast.
Well, yeah, he points at, he gestures to the gun.
Yeah.
And of course, he is that fast.
He is that fast.
Johnny, you're not that fast.
Which, this is what's wrong with this movie among a million other things.
And then he shoots a guy in the dick.
Yeah, he shoots a guy in the dick and then kills him. But he kills all so he goes, Johnny, you're not that fast. But so it turns out the way this scene plays out is, he just is that fast. He drops down, pulls out the gun, and shoots all 3 of them in like a second. The thing that's dumb about that is that what that scene and that moment should be is something relevant to his character that is interesting, other than just he's the biggest badass in the world. So what I was thinking of in that moment is the scene and it's not, say what you will about this movie as a whole, but in Die Hard 4, Live Free or Die Hard, the end of that movie, spoilers if you haven't seen it, Bruce Willis is being held at gunpoint or has a gun to his chest, basically, by the main bad guy. And he's like telling everybody around him, stop or I'll kill Bruce Willis or whatever, or John McClane. And what John McClane does in the scene to get out of it is he grabs the guy's hand and shoots through his shoulder and kills the guy behind him who was holding him. Yeah, Timothy Olyphant. And kills him.
On your tombstone, it should read, always in the wrong place at the wrong time. How about yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker?
And that, in that moment, it's kind of ridiculous, whatever, but it makes sense because one of the things that John McClane always, he just gets the shit kicked out of him in all the movies. He's walking on glass, he's getting the shit kicked out of him constantly. So the way he saves the day being hurting himself to kill the bad guy makes perfect sense for his character. Again, say what you will overall about that movie. And so, like, that's at least an interesting spin on, like, the final showdown. Like, whoa, big tense standoff. In this movie, it's literally just, you're not a super most badass that ever badassed. Joke's on you. I am the super most badass that ever badassed. It's like,
Johnny, you're not that fast.
well, it's not interesting. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Hate you, movie. Hate you.
Bad guys don't always win, asshole.
And then an elevator opens and all these bad guys are on it, and our guy is standing in the middle of fucking factory warehouse, and 4 guys with guns show up on the elevator and all shoot at him, and he just serpentine patterns and doesn't get hit. He literally just, I was like, serpentine. All right, great.
Serpentine, everyone! Serpentine!
Some guy, he gets fights a bunch of guys. There's a guy that comes down from the roof with a shotgun, and he's like up in the rafters now. And a guy comes down and he gets rid of that guy, and then another guy walks up to him with his gun 4 feet from, or like 4 inches from him.
Drop him. Okay.
Nope. SWAT knocks the gun out of his hand. It's like, it's just all so terribly choreographed. And then he fights the blonde guy or the other guy with up in the rafters because they thought that would be cool, but it's not really. And they do the spinny sticks at each other again for a long time. And then we got to talk about this scene because he finally gets stopped. They pull some guns on him and they end up disarming him. And these 2 guys pick him up and they're carrying him.
Let's go for a little ride.
They pick him up and they're carrying him like face down, with each one has like his arm and a leg, and they're carrying him. And as they're carrying him, he stops and puts his hands down into a handstand and does the
splits to kick them.
It's so fucking stupid.
Some of the stunts in this film are just not. They sound cool. They are not great in execution.
And then there's another scene, again, we have another scene where the guy with the goatee and the weird haircut grabs him and has a knife to his neck.
He's like, and he's like, you have every opportunity to kill this guy.
Yeah. And how does our guy get out of it? By doing anything interesting? No. He literally just ducks under the knife and then stabs the guy with it. It's like, the guy like has it and he's just like, no, you don't. And then it's like, haha. And I'm like, what the fuck are we doing, movie?
And he gets this terrible one-liner and kills him.
Later, dickwad.
Mr. Clean, Monopoly Man,
running,
is trying to get out of here.
And sweet piano music playing while he's running. And then this fucking stunt, holy shit, I was not prepared for this. The guy gets in a car and is driving, and our guy's out in like the cargo bay.
Yes, and this stunt is 100% real.
And fucking bonkers. Like, I was like, oh, he almost died.
Yeah. The car is coming at him because the Mr. Monopoly Man can see John. So he hits him. And a good indication that you only had one, you could only do this once, is that he broke the windshield.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, you're talking about that part. I wasn't even talking about the part where he gets hit with the car, but that does happen.
Yeah.
That part happens, and that part's bonkers because he does get hit with the thing. But then he goes out and he's in like the outside area, and he's standing shooting into the building, and the car comes barreling out of the building
right there,
and almost murders him.
Yes.
I was like, holy
but
shit.
There's a part before that where he gets hit, and like that's you get one shot.
Yeah, because he cracks
and that's
the windshield.
completely real, because he cracks that windshield.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts. But then he almost gets murdered by the car. Like, the actor clearly almost died doing this stunt. But gets out of the way and shoots the guy, I guess, or
and
something.
Then blows up the car because...
And my favorite thing about the car blow up is that we get a slow motion badass dudes never look at explosions moment.
Cool guys don't look at explosions.
Exactly. But my favorite thing is you can hear in the sound effects, they have the fire going. They have because the car's supposed to be on fire, but we can see the car behind him and it's clearly not on fire. There's no smoke, there's no fire, it's just sitting there, and then an explosion goes off. And yeah, it's like, well, what a badass, didn't look at that explosion.
God, how do they walk away in movies without flinching when it explodes behind them? There's no way! I call bullshit on that!
Well, thanks to you, all the gangs in my city have decided to sign treaties.
Yeah!
Lambert! After you, the gangs in my precinct are gonna call a truce.
What?
All right.
Next time I see you, donuts are on me. Get it?
Donuts on me.
Get it, boo! Cop joke.
Because he's a cop, but not really. But I guess he is though.
And I was just like, oh, and they're just like, don't worry about this. We'll clean all this up. You go fuck her.
How do you feel about the desert?
Movie ends, credits roll.
And then it is it was made in memory, because I was looking through the credits. It was made in memory of two people, one of which was the cinematographer.
Was the other one the stunt guy?
The other one was a stunt guy, not from this movie though. He didn't die from this movie, because I looked it up. He died doing a fall stunt into an airbag. He missed the airbag. It was for LA Heat.
Oh,
the TV show from the late 90s.
Yeah.
Ooh. So I was like, oh, okay. But have your memory tied to this film.
Yeah. Guys, like, can you not dedicate this movie to me, please? As terms of a final judgment, it's close for me.
I think there's enough entertaining and goofy things to make it good bad.
I would agree. I would say good bad. It's fairly short, which helps. It's like an hour 25 minutes if you don't count the credits. It's not super boring. There's a little bit in the middle that gets a little tedious, but
the stairwell teabag, that's
fucking
all
amazing.
You need.
It's fucking amazing. That is it for this episode of Good Bad or Bad Bad. As always, you can do us a big favor by supporting us on Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/GBorBB and pledge as much as you want, $2, $5 or more, and get podcasts and all kinds of fun stuff. Also, we have a merch store. If you go to tpublic.com and then just search for Good Bad or Bad.
T-E-E.
Yeah, T-E-E, public.com. And just search for Good Bad or Bad Bad. You'll find our stuff like baby onesies. Insert babe picture of the cutest baby in the world wearing a Good Bad or Bad Bad onesie. There you go. Also, I have a podcast called This Film Is That, where we talk about movies that are based on books. And when this episode is out, the movie we will have just talked about is, I don't remember, Children of the Corn, maybe? I don't know when this is coming out or when ours is coming out. So maybe Children of the Corn, if you want a nice spooky movie. That's not a good movie. We could almost do that movie for this show.
Yes.
It's bad. But anyways, Kyle, your movie's coming out, right?
It is coming out. It has a release date, which should
I say your movie. It's not like
it should be out after this episode comes out. Actually, September 13th is the release date.
And what is the final title that we're going with?
Is Interviewing Monsters and Bigfoot.
There you go.
Here's the thing. I'm pretty sure it's coming through Amazon because the distribution company, all their other stuff came through Amazon.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay.
So we think we'll be able to watch it on Prime, maybe?
We might get it on Prime.
That would be dope. So yeah, Interviewing Monsters and Bigfoot. Kyle, you were the AC?
I was the first assistant camera many years ago.
Yeah, this is forever ago. I mean, we were filming the show, but it was like 2 or 3 years ago or something.
We started production over 4 years ago.
Yeah. And you make an appearance in the movie now?
Yes. From the last cut I saw of it.
Which may be different now.
I should be at the very end of the film, possibly during the credits.
There you go. So check out Interviewing Monsters and Bigfoot. It's got Tom Green and the Survivor Man, Les Stroud himself. So yeah, you can check that out if you want, maybe on Amazon, but just Google it and maybe you can find it. And that's it. So until next time, keep watching movies.
Especially Stickfighter.
Stickfighter, Kick Puncher, beat him with the Stickfighter movie, man.
Teabag Stairs.
That's what they should have called it. Crotch Strangler. Crotch Rider.